He has never filled up on chips. He is the most interesting man in the world.
And I believe that the iPhone SE is the most interesting iPhone at the moment for a few reasons. The first one being that this is probably, if not the smallest iPhone to still support the latest version of iOS. And secondly, this is by far the cheapest iPhone you can pick up. So with all that in mind, should you buy the iPhone SE in 2019? And if you have one, is it time to upgrade or should you keep it? Let's get right into it. Starting off with design, the iPhone SE is small. It was small when it was announced in 2016 with the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus at 4.7 and 5.5 inches, and now in 2019 it seems even smaller, with some phones hitting the 6 or even 7 inch mark. Coming from an S9 Plus, this does feel really small, or at least it did, but now that I'm used to it, I'm actually really appreciating the small size and just the form factor, fitting in one hand nicely, being able to reach the top of the display without issues. But the design itself is really good. I'm not going to go over too much of the specs itself, but you probably already know them. 12 megapixel f2.2 camera here on the back that does not stick out. Look at that. It's flush. Look at that. That is amazing. Dual LED flash, microphone, the nice Apple logo here that's shiny, and then the two-tone back with the glass and then the aluminum, nice chamfered edges with the same ones that they use on the new iPads for 2019. This is an iconic Apple look, and they know that. It's a really good feeling phone. It's very premium in the hand even in 2019, and the fact that it was coming out just for a refreshed version of the iPhone 5s with newer iPhone 6s specs is pretty crazy just how premium it still feels even in 2019. We have the volume rockers on the side here, the little circles, the mute switch, all iPhones have it, the power button up here on the top rather than the side, SIM card. On the bottom we have a lightning jack as well as a single speaker. Don't be deceived, there is only one here, as well as I think they call these headphone jacks. And yeah, that's about it on there. And on the front we have a 1.2, yes I said 1.2 megapixel front facing camera, as well as an earpiece and first gen Touch ID. So the screen itself is pretty nice. It's a 4.0 inch retina display and it has 324 pixels per inch. It looks good. It's the same ones that are used on all the iPhones, and even coming from an S9 Plus, which is like Samsung's the king of displays, I'm still liking it. There's nothing to complain about here. The colors are nice and accurate. It's bright enough for everyday use. If I max out the brightness there, you can see it still looks very good. Very good viewing angles, no complaints on the screen. The only thing I don't like is that it doesn't have 3D touch, but can you really complain? That was a brand new feature when this phone was released, and it's more of a budget model. So moving on to the experience itself, and on the latest iOS, it runs very good. All iPhones are optimized, and being that this one is older, it can still beat some of the newer phones even with the A9 processor and 2 gigabytes of RAM, just because it's so well optimized. Everything runs extremely smoothly. If you go in, there's no problem. See, it starts up quite fast, no issues. You can swipe around, move through your Instagram feed, whatever it may be, no issues at all. Everything's fast. You can go into Facebook, we can go into YouTube, we can open up a few things here, and if we go back all the way to what I was in even before, you can see it's still open here. And that brings me to my next point, which is battery life. And as you can see, I have almost 5 hours of screen on time since I last charged it this morning. It's 12 o'clock. I've been making a few videos, so it's been on the entire time. And we are still looking at around 48% after 5 hours of screen on time, and I'm not sure if that's too true. I'm looking at that usually for a full charge, so I'm not sure what's going on here with my screen on time. But anyways, the battery has not been a problem for me. I'm actually seeing better battery life on this than my S9 Plus. I usually use power saving mode, as there's not really too many reasons not to. I don't find it an issue, and I usually use a lower brightness, but still getting 4 to 5 hours of screen on time with a phone from 2016 is pretty dang impressive. Moving on to the camera, the back camera you are going to be impressed with. The only thing it lacks is optical image stabilization. On the other hand, it still has 1.22 micron, so pixel size, so lots of light, maybe not quite as big as the 1.4 in the new iPhones, but it's still pretty good. It also features HDR, not the new HDR, but it still has it, and it also features live photos despite its lack of 3D touch. You just have to hold it rather than 3D pressing. So the camera itself is really good. You get a good amount of dynamic range, same 12 megapixels as the other, so you still have the same amount of detail, just you're not going to see as much low light performance, and there is sometimes a bit of shake because of the lack of optical image stabilization. On the other hand, it still shoots 4K video, which looks very nice. You are just going to have to be careful, maybe use a gimbal or an app like Filmic Pro to get some stabilization on there. And with an app like Filmic Pro, you can actually get a lot more dynamic range out of this camera as well. No issues with the rear camera. It would be nice to have optical image stabilization, but you can't have it all at this price. Front camera, however, if you're a selfie god, you're taking lots of selfies, I don't think I can recommend this one. They aren't going to be the most detailed shots in the world just because of it's only 1.2 megapixels. But in general, the cameras are pretty good. Speakers, on the other hand, are kind of quiet. They aren't the best in the world. They are quite loud, as you can see, but they don't sound the best. So this was before they started adding the earpiece as a second speaker, so it is only going to come out the bottom, and it is pretty easy to cover up, so it's not the best audio experience. But there is a headphone jack down here, so if you still use those, you're an audiophile, you use those headphones with the adapters, you haven't Bluetoothed everything, you will be happy because it's one of the last iPhones to actually have a headphone jack. So in general, the experience has been very well. Like I said, battery life has been very good, especially for the size. Features, you're still getting all the same features as newest phones from Apple. Like, that's just crazy. You're getting pretty much everything. The same experience, the same user interface, everything is the same. It's an iPhone, and you're still getting very good performance. You can actually still game on this one. It's still pretty good with 2 gigs of RAM. You can play Fortnite and everything. Just I don't know how much I would recommend it, just due to the fact that, well, I only have 16 gigabytes, and that's really the limitation here for me. If this thing had 64 gigabytes, it would be perfect. So if you do plan on picking one of these up, I would recommend opting for a larger storage capacity than 16, as it was discontinued, so you know it will be an older one if you buy one, but just aim for 64, just so you know you have enough room on the phone if you are going to pick one up. But in general, I have been really impressed with this experience. If you're looking for an iPhone and you're not planning to spend much, you want to get the cheapest iPhone, you're going to want to buy this one. There is nothing else out there that compares to it. If you just want a cheap phone in general, you are looking to spend around $100 and you want the best bang for your buck, the best design, the best camera, and the best just in all phone for the money, this is, you can't overlook this phone. There's literally nothing else out there that you're going to find for this price with this many features. You're getting the same operating system as the newest iPhones. It's running the same one as the brand new iPhone XS Max. It costs over 10 times as much money as this one. You're getting a very good phone, and yes, I would recommend buying one used because you're still going to pay $300 or so from Apple, so I would recommend buying used. If you do get one of these, maybe you have to switch the battery, but it's still going to be a lot cheaper than any new iPhone. And really, just in general, if you're looking for a phone and you're not planning to spend much, this is like the best option out there for around $100. There is nothing else out there. Don't waste your time. This is it. If you want something, this is going to be your best bet for that price point. Now, if you do have one of these and you're looking to upgrade, I do say think about, do you need it? What is it? If it's a bigger screen, yes, you can't make the screen any bigger on this, but what is it that you need? If you're looking for audio and you don't care about the headphone jack, I would recommend getting a new one because the speakers are better. They use the earpiece. But if you do need a headphone jack, and you don't want to use a dongle, like, you can't go wrong with this. For the front-facing camera, on the other hand, I would recommend, if you're a selfie god, like I said, and you're taking a lot of selfies, Snapchatting a lot, maybe this is not the one for you. I don't only 1.2 megapixels, you're gonna be a bit mushy to your friends. So just be careful with that. But I can't not recommend it to anyone. It's just, if you're looking for a cheaper iPhone, if you're looking for a cheaper phone in general, you can't go wrong with this one. I just can't overstate that enough. There's nothing else in this price range for it, and it's probably gonna last for a few more years, as Apple seems to support their devices for quite a long time. And being that this has an A9 chip in it, 2 gigs of RAM, it's still very capable for 2019, and it's held up extremely well. If you can mind the design and the size, and you're looking for an eye to get into iPhones or just any phone for this price point, get the iPhone SE. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Take care. I will see you in the next one. If you liked it, thumbs up. If you didn't like it, thumbs me down. If you liked it so much that you want to see more, subscribe. And if you really don't want to miss anything, consider hitting that bell icon. If you have any video ideas you want to leave down in the comments, I would be happy to make a video about it. And have a great day, everyone. I will talk to you in my next video. Bye.